This is, welcome to the news, by the way. This is the sound that relates to, after all, just poking out of the surface of the ocean after doing a little bit of a deep dive and walking on the bottom of the sea to try to find a bit of treasure. As you hold your breath in, hold a stone, rock, and try to walk along the bottom of the ocean for a little while if it's not too deep, to where you don't necessarily need any ocean gear. And the purpose of mentioning this, after all, is something of a metaphor that has to do with something related to society, which has to do with being a little bit immersed and sort of covered at all angles in terms of your attention and every aspect of what you're expected to do as a human being in this life, being accounted for in terms of your time, in terms of your attention, in terms of what everybody wants you to do, in terms of all of the items that have to do with your focus and where you think you should be and how you should think you should do everything, corresponding to a little bit of a mold, of a little bit of a template that is somewhat outlined from the past, yeah. But after all, it's like having your mind and your face and your brain inside of a waterfall for basically your whole life. So as opposed to staying inside of the waterfall, instead of having all of the aspects and the particles of water washing over you and raining over you at all given times of life any longer, it's kind of like just having the ability to be able to acknowledge what's happening in space. Whoa, and just put yourself in space, but in the earth, in the planet Earth, by taking yourself, just trying to remove yourself from the waterfall. Take a step backwards and just withdraw yourself from the waterfall of society, for sure, because any person that you talk to at any given time, basically, more or less, that's attached to a given society within a given country that's connected to a certain extent, has nothing to do with your individuality. It has everything to do with a connected web of all kinds of energy that has to do with not only a local but a macro society. And so that's all a waterfall happening into your senses at all given times of the day. So if you can have the ability to be able to take a step back and pull your face out, in essence, from the waterfall, and then just try to cleanse the air, try to cleanse the elements, and maybe go for a walk. Just go for a walk and be able to realize and acknowledge that you are a super unique individual, and that also we're at the forefront of a lot of change in the future that has to do with everything being completely different 100,000% compared to yesterday and all of the days in the past. So ultimately it's a matter of trying to prepare oneself not only for the future but ultimately as well connecting with the universe fundamentally to be just be able to acknowledge and idolize individuality. That's what everybody, for whatever given reason, has a somewhat of an issue to do, because there's so much immersion with all of the aspects of society that elements of uniqueness and elements of individuality somehow get lost in the sauce of being distracted and being caught under the waterfall. Whereas when you pull your face away from the waterfall, you just take a walk from separation, society, in all aspects of all senses of the word of the human individuality, and be able to separate the senses of human individuality, it's more or less very, very significantly difficult not to realize individuality connected to and in comparison to the global connection of every other human being that is more or less connected by a society, or even country-based societies, that once you take a step outside of the society woven knit, that you're able to recognize individuality. And it also takes a little bit of acknowledgement to be able to try to focus on individuality, all of the individual unique characteristics that make you a snowflake, that make everybody as an individual, all 8 billion people in the world, as individual snowflakes. But you have to be able to take the time to be able to acknowledge that and be able to remove yourself from the waterfall. And then that's when the beginning of an entrepreneurial journey starts. That's when the beginning of realizing a connection to the universe is a fundamental difference from everybody else in the world, and it's a unique fundamental fundamental connection to from everybody else in the world, and finding that connection to philanthropy energy and try to connect the world and develop a world solving problems with philanthropy energy is the path to being able to try to find purpose as an individual for all humans. But ultimately, it's a matter of separating from the clutter and realizing that you're in a waterfall to begin with, and having the ability to just grab your shirt by the shoulders and be able to remove yourself from the waterfall, so that ultimately you just get silence, and you get that fundamental connection to nature, fundamental connection to all elements of the sides of different energy, from every aspect of every single energy that you could possibly try to feel, by just stepping back and trying to connect your synapses to every single piece of energy that has to do with nature. That is possible. That is possibly possible to then to be able to pursue the journey that has to do with everlasting light on earth, in essence, by churning through the essences of society and just connecting with everlasting spiraling light inside of the brain, inside of the mind, to then be able to just connect with calmness, and then therefore be able to connect with all aspects of business that truly speak to the true nature of your true persona, and then therefore at the same time be able to walk through subtly and slowly at a different speed than everybody else in society, at your own mental speed that corresponds to connecting to all the right elements of connectivities and root networks in the world, to then therefore be able to try to connect you to the right business fabrics, to be able to align you with the right business energies, to be able to add value to the global philanthropy energy grid and add value to everybody in the world, becoming more so thriving off of philanthropy energy and philanthropy, the act of philanthropy and good deeds and the essences of doing and looking out for and providing for all other human beings in the world. Oh, another step to be able to try to make advancements in the world is to try to be able to connect animals and connective animal-loving animals with robots, in essence, futuristic animal connectivity with robots and robot artificial intelligence activity and robot mindsets, in essence, to be able to connect that with animals fundamentally, so that animals are able to reflect the power of robots and the power and the love within animals and dogs and pets, for example, that is unending, corresponding loyalty and love that is hard to stop within an animal, for example, is able to translate into the technology. It's able to translate into robots. So we give different animals and dogs and cats, for example, different robots to be able to control, and then have their empathy and have their consistent love elements be able to try to leak through into the technologies for the future of humanity, so that ultimately our dogs and cats and animals can be employed. After all, they can be employable. Cats and dogs these days and pets can step into the realm of connecting with robots to be able to also contribute to the global philanthropy energy in the world by bringing the love energy through the essence of technology, to be able to bring love firsthand through the element of animal frequencies into the elements of robots, to be able to be controlled by little animals, so that their frequencies are able to directly pipeline in the way of love and directly teach the artificial intelligence at the same time how to use this animal energy into be able to be trained and to be able to tweak that energy, to be able to change the nature of the global philanthropy energy grid, and to be able to tune the global philanthropy energy grid to be able to surround the whole planet Earth, to be able to pipeline and optimize the most unconditional love that all animals tend to give to humans, ultimately through the global philanthropy energy grid. So it's guiding us from up above, from the surface, from the source, from all the fabrics of life and our technology that we're able to also incorporate and include into any given future life that unfolds, and including dogs and cats in the future fabric of growth of society in robots and technology at the same time. Oh. And lastly, we want to try to conceptualize and consider something that's called a little bit of business hockey. It's like a slapshot game. It's a 1-2 slapshot game, in essence. That's kind of a little for fun, little for the holidays, little game to be able to start to try to play with some friends conceptually, to try to be able to sell things. It's like a 1-2 slapshot. You basically pass them and you do quick collaborations and you 1-2 slapshot it into the marketplace. It's like playing hockey, in essence. Like in the game of ice hockey, for example, you pass a puck to another player, and then in essence they shoot on net. They take a shot on net. It's just that quick. It's just that simple. But it takes two to play that game, in essence, and you get the inspiration to take the shot by getting that pass from a fellow player, in essence. So it could be something as simple as trying to post something on the internet, in essence, that is either for sale or it's a piece of content that might be able to have the ability to sell something, for example, or the ability to post something that has the ability to lead to something else to be sold. And then one other person could do part of the work to be able to set it up, and the other person then therefore gets past the puck, and the other person shoots it into the marketplace, and trying to leverage that business hockey 1-2 1-2 pass, 1-2 pass, 1-2 pass, slapshot, slapshot, hockey business, hockey, slapshot, hockey business, hockey, slapshot, hockey business, hockey, 1-2 pass, slapshot, business, hockey, slapshot games, slapshot games, slapshot games, slapshot business games. Yeah. That's all for now. Thanks again. Bye, Digitech. Bye, peace. Bye. Digitech, change for game studios. Digitech, change for games. Bye, peace. Bye.